Welcome back. All right, the Edochie family saga gets louder and louder and louder. Okay, some of our biggest videos on this platform is about the Edochie family, particularly Yul and May, Queen May Yul Edochie. All right, now there's a special type of character that entered the zone not too long ago, and we'll be talking about how we call her Yinka and Yinka Theisen. Yeah, right. She came into the family by way of Yul-Edochie's brother, Lincoln Edochie. Okay, so but now they are ex-lovers. Okay, but Atinika is talking. She's sticking to social media again. She's the gift that keeps giving, and as long as I find an angle for lessons, I will keep bringing it. All right, so she took to social media to mock Queen May Edochie for being cheated on, and she called her a silly queen. She called her a silly queen. She said, if she was that great, why would a woman steal her husband? She isn't that great. You've met your match. Edochie, bring it on. Anyway, so I was like, oh, interesting. A husband is stolen. Yul-Edochie was stolen. According to Atinika, Yul-Edochie was stolen by Watermelon Judy Austin. Anyway, was she stolen? I know what you're about to say. But let's think about this. If you were a good enough wife, he wouldn't have cheated. Right? Right? I'm asking. It's a question. If you were a good enough husband, she would not have cheated. If you were a good enough wife, he wouldn't have cheated. The internet was split into half, of course. Debatable, right? Where is Ola going with this one? Where are we going with this one? But that's what society sometimes says, a man that strays, it must be that the wife failed somewhere. What was she doing? What was she looking at when her husband was stolen from her? Did you notice something here in what I'm saying right now? Have you noticed it? The husband, like this in Ela, was stolen. What were you looking at when the husband was stolen? Right? So in the same breath, we want loyalty. In the same breath, we want to be very quick to blame, right? Is that just one of the comforting lies that we tell ourselves? I'm wondering. This whole thing is always about emotional management, right? Always managing our emotions, managing our ego, our needs, the silent wars. Me and you, we know the cause of our life. We don't like basketballs. We kind of don't like basketballs, right? We go into our small feed. We look at the news. We see them arguing against themselves, but we kind of like, we take a side quietly, right? Right? But I think she's quite cruel with what she said, for saying that out loud. In her mind, she's like, I'm telling the truth. I'm just going to tell the truth. What were you looking at when Watermelon stole your husband? Right? She was bold enough to tell one side of the truth, right? At least we can agree. Some people agree with that. So it's some people's truth, right? And many people quietly believe that. Okay. But we believe that love is earned. We believe that respect is earned until somebody is stolen. I said somebody. We believe that respect is earned, trust is earned until somebody is stolen. Once somebody is stolen, then a crime was committed. A crime was committed, and now you have to do the time. Who committed the crime? The stolen husband, That's what one side of the internet, that's what they're saying. Okay. The stolen husband is a human being. In fact, just a few hours ago, I heard somebody on social media was talking, was listening, and the person was like, don't say that about the African man. A African man cannot be snatched. That's a man saying that, by the way. But it's coming from a different angle. It's not coming from your angle. It's coming from patriarchy. Like, don't disrespect a traditional man. He cannot be stolen. He exercised his options of polygamy. So stop it. Stop it there. Now, you ladies are like, a man cannot be stolen. He must be held accountable for his behavior. You see the confusion? There's confusion everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's confusion. But I want to know what your personal opinion is. Is Auntie Yinka being cruel for saying her version of the truth? She's projecting. She just collected woto. Breakfast is not your mate.
Stop the cap.
Breakfast is not your mate. Breakfast will make you justify bullshit. Okay, will make you blame, make you shame, will make you insult. Right? Will make you commit atrocities that are very, very close to you, like that. Let me make this thing bigger since I'm a lot choppy. I'll make this. No. Actually, let's leave it that way because of editing later on. Right? Breakfast will make you do the, and breakfast comes in doses, small doses sometimes. Breakfast is not always somebody dump you outrightly. Sometimes they just silent treatment that goes into the other room, and before you know it, the way you react to that, you'll be all over the place. Messy. Anyway, the idea of holding somebody hostage in a relationship and is beyond Auntie Yinka's hurt. Okay, it takes a lot more for somebody to go and be with a side chick, maintain a relationship with them long term, pay their bride price, have a baby with them. Well, somebody impregnates them, carry that baby full term. I don't know if it's full term, but carry that baby until the baby was born, and then come out and announce to the world and say, behold, my beloved son from my second wife. And that was his announcement to the world. It's going to take a lot more than Queen May's conduct, behavior. It could be an influence. It could be an influence on overall. We don't know what Queen May was like in that marriage. Okay, it's not ours to judge negatively or positively, because some of you are going to be like, what do you mean? Was it not good enough? Like, that's exactly, I'm saying the same thing you are saying. Okay, but I think Auntie Yinka is just as ignorant as me and you. What we can all conclude on is this. Okay, it's going to take a lot more to find themselves out of a divorce than one person's behavior. Okay, this is a good time to say it takes two to tango. When you have an outcome, the outcome is that marriage did not survive. You can say it takes two to tango. Most of you say it takes two to tango at the beginning. When you're supposed to be sowing seeds. You see the confusion? This is a good time to say it takes two to tango. To create the outcome they have right now today, yeah, it takes at least two. It doesn't take one person. We can all agree to that one. So here's the truth, though. Why people love to say no one can be stolen, we can't ignore our actions, our inactions, and how they shape our emotional reality. Okay. But the reason why we don't like blame is because blame usually focuses on one simple, stupid part of it. From a place of projection, the one you can relate with, the one side of your brain that works. And that's usually not true. Okay. So, but even with that truth, cheating can never be justified, period. Cheating, lying, stealing is a responsibility of the perpetrators. They have to do the time for the crime. You can't sit around and say they made you do it. Okay. By the way, everyone that say I do, you don't know what you're doing. Life will teach you some lessons. The best teacher is still experience. Okay. So if you're there single, never been entangled, but you're looking to discover yourself, you're lying to yourself. Okay. Ojo, you're paranoid. Okay, you're paranoid. That's what's going on with you. Okay, and you need to work on that. I'm not judging you for it. You need to work on it. Okay, marriage is life inside of life. It's a mirror that exposes. It exposes your strength, your weaknesses, and your capacity to love. Of course, it's either you have it or you don't have it. If you don't have it, it will fail. It is not as spiritual as you think it. It is very spiritual. Okay, it is. It involves your intentionality with respect to social and emotional intelligence. Okay, so even though Auntie Yinka tried to use shame as a weapon here, as most people do when they are hurt, who hurt you, Auntie Yinka? But in the end, our attack only exposed the universal truth: we're all flawed. But a cheater is a cheater. A cheater is a cheater. A liar is a liar. And a thief is a thief. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let me know what your thoughts are. I want to know your opinion about this. Let me know what your thoughts are. But let's move on to some other trendy stories around the world. I'll be right back. This is Ola, man of Prestige, your favorite relationship and marriage coach. If you enjoyed this, smash that like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Be a part of the Prestige family. My wife Lola and I have written 2 powerful books: Get My Marriage Back and Number 1 Red Flag. Yours free at manofprestige.com. For personal coaching, send me a WhatsApp request for consultation to +1 732 305 8577. Stay tuned for more. Your journey to love and prestige starts here.